What is it about?
Nobody knew, and they didn't know.
It's a ballad.
That it was going to have the effect it did.
It's folk.
I think because of the way he writes, he manages to retain an air of mystery.
It's rock.
You only hear a few bars and you're pulled into it.
Loud at the end.
It's hard rock. From the moment its gentle, finger-picked introduction meanders into your ears, stands as not just a testament to rock and roll, but as an epitome of musical artistry. Deciding whether Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven holds the title of the greatest song ever recorded is a matter of personal taste and can spark lively discussions. Nevertheless, it's hard to ignore the song's significant influence and the various aspects that contribute to its lasting appeal and widespread acclaim. Here's why this 1971 masterpiece can genuinely stake a claim as the greatest song ever. The song takes you on an engaging three-part journey that kicks off with a soothing acoustic intro.
I've wanted to try to put something together which started with quite a fragile, exposed acoustic guitar playing in sort of style of a poor man's bourrée by Bach, that sort of aspect.
There's a lady who's sure all it glitters is gold.
Transitions into a bluesy mid-tempo section featuring Plant's expressive vocals.
Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run.
Highlighted by Jimmy Page's iconic guitar solo. And crescendos into a powerful rock anthem. One of the track's most compelling attributes is its progressive nature. It begins with a soft, ethereal melody.
And she's buying stairway to heaven.
Gradually building up in intensity and complexity, culminating in a crescendo of hard rock.
It's an arrangement. Not many rock bands can do arrangements, which means actually changing the volume and the tempo and the pace and varying the instruments. Most bands go from A to B and it's loud at the beginning and loud at the end.
This evolutionary composition takes the listener on a profound journey, mirroring life's own trajectory from gentle beginnings to dynamic climaxes.
The idea of Stairway was to have a piece of music, a composition, whereby it would just keep unfolding into more layers and more moods, and actually the whole intensity of subtlety and the intensity of the overlay of the composition would actually accelerate as it went through on every level, every emotional level, every musical level, and so it just keeps opening up as it continues through its sort of passage.
Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know?
This dynamic progression ensures the listener stays captivated during the nearly 8-minute duration. When it comes to melody and harmony, the song boasts beautiful and memorable tunes, ranging from delicate finger-picking to soaring vocals and bluesy riffs.
I think it is the perfect arrangement. Although it's an 8-minute song, the build is absolutely magical. And there's a funny thing that happens when you hear it on the radio or a mate plays it again. At first you think, oh no, not Stairway to Heaven again. And almost in spite of yourself, you find yourself getting drawn into it, and it finishes and you think, yeah, that's great. And yet you start out thinking, if I never hear that song again, I'll be perfectly happy. It's a haunting sound.
Your stairway lies on the whispering wind.
It was slightly complicated to be doing this whole thing without a vocal, because at the time there weren't any lyrics, and this is the This was the backbone of what the song was intended to be. This was during the period that we were at Headley Grange that the thing was put together.
There's a feeling I get when I look to the west.
Robert was magnificent with his input of lyrics to the music of Led Zeppelin anyway.
My contribution was to write lyrics and to sing a song.
And it's whispered that soon, if we all...
I remember during that period, Robert was sort of sitting down, leaning against the wall, and he was just sort of writing. I will never forget that image of him doing that. We do a run-through of it from beginning to end, with the guitar opening, as we all know. And then Robert comes up and starts to pitch in and sing. And I tell you, it must have been 90% of the lyrics were already done.
And my spirit is crying for leaving.
What is it about?
Nobody knew, and they didn't know, that it was going to have the effect it did.
You've got a lyric that can be interpreted any way you like.
I think because of the way he writes, he manages to retain an air of mystery.
Symbolism and welcoming ambiguity. Plant's lyrics in Stairway to Heaven are enigmatic and open to various interpretations, exploring themes like ambition, disillusionment, and the quest for meaning.
A lyric that was ambiguous enough, and a delivery which was not over-pumped. Just, it almost was like the antithesis of the music was this kind of lyric and this vocal delivery that was just about enough to get in there, you know.
This openness enables listeners to discover their unique personal connections with the song, contributing to its lasting charm.
The amount of analysis that's gone on, the amount of web chat rooms, the amount of books that have been written just about the meaning of the lyrics is absolutely total and utter bollocks, if you like.
There's a feeling I get when I look to the west.
Robert Plant's lyrics are poetic, enigmatic, and laden with imagery and allegory.
What's it about? Lyrical searching, yeah. Does it make much sense? Possibly does to Plant. Did it really matter? Probably not.
And my spirit is crying for leaving.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there.
Lines such as this are open to interpretation, letting listeners find their meaning or simply lose themselves in the musicality of the words.
About fate and something very British, almost abstract. But they were coming out of the mind of a 23-year-old guy, you know.
Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run.
If you want to interpret lyrics in a certain way and it gives you some inner meaning, you've bought the material, then that's absolutely fine.
The song's lyrics skillfully weave a narrative filled with vibrant imagery, depicting scenes of maidens, mountains, and castles. This storytelling prowess transports listeners into the song's captivating world, intensifying the emotional resonance.
I think as time goes on, you find that you may find another period of your life has got a little bit more substance or is more relative later on down the line, you know.
It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen.
And even if you discount the lyrics, which are whatever they are, it's a lovely melody, one of the most lasting melodies of any rock song.
Every member of Led Zeppelin showcased their unparalleled skills in this track. John Paul Jones's mellotron in the background creates an ethereal atmosphere.
That was an idea of John Paul Jones's to put the recorders on, and he played the recorders. When I actually had the idea for Stairway, that wasn't necessary. I wasn't thinking recorders. I was thinking more the texture of actually the electric piano. Why the double neck? On Stairway, I'd employed an acoustic guitar at the beginning of it, and then two separate electric 12 strings in on each channel. And then I thought, how am I going to approach this number? It needed to have all these voicings of the 12 string and the 6 string.
the interaction between acoustic and electric guitars, complemented by John Bonham's thunderous drums, creates a lush and harmonious musical landscape.
What I'd learnt about John Bonham, that he could be really effective if he came in somewhere down the line on the song. And so everything is starting to open up on this map, on this journey through. And all of this stuff was planned, you know, it wasn't just an accident or everyone chipping in. It was just, it really was a sort of design.
And Jimmy Page's iconic guitar solo is nothing short of legendary.
You know, the inventive sort of guitar solo at the end, one of the most inventive guitar solos ever.
One of the cardinal rules when I was a studio musician was that you didn't speed up. And I was keen to do something which had an acceleration to it, not only from the musical point of view, but from the lyricist, so that the whole thing would start to gain a momentum as it went through. So it wasn't just a monotone piece. And by that, I actually mean that it would subtly speed up. So you're breaking the number one cardinal rule.
Speaking of the guitar solo, Jimmy Page's performance is widely regarded as one of the best ever recorded. It's not just technically masterful, but also emotionally charged, seamlessly weaving into the song's narrative.
The concept of the solo was to have something like a sort of fanfare, so it's a definite transition. So it comes in with a fanfare to introduce this solo, and the solo is just going to soar right through.
It's one of these songs where if you have a moment with either someone else or just a moment where you're watching the sunrise or something, it's one of those moments that this piece of music, if it connects, it's going to connect fully into every vein you've got going.
Page employs various techniques, such as call and response with the vocals, skillfully building tension and resolution, ultimately reaching a satisfying climax.
At the end of that solo, there's the trills, which lead it into this huge finale, which is the vocal as we wind on down the road.
Each instrument contributes uniquely, forming a harmonious amalgamation of sound.
It was a very inspired time for all of us at the time that we were living in the Headley Grange as a residence, eating, sleeping, making music. That's what we were doing day after day after day.
With its unique blend of acoustic and electric elements, intricate structure, and grand scale, the song blazed a trail for numerous progressive rock bands and left an indelible mark on generations of musicians.
And it sort of tells when you hear the fourth album. But, you know, Stairway is a sort of byproduct of it, of all of that. But, you know, it's obviously been quite substantial as a milestone for Led Zeppelin.
Few songs have so deeply permeated popular culture as Stairway to Heaven.
But it didn't sound stilted, or it wasn't struggling. I mean, so much progressive rock, which went on for about 17 minutes of a double album, maybe, would become, you know, exhausting and lose its way. Whereas Stairway to Heaven, the reason it's so successful, I think, it works like a little compact piece of classical music.
From the moment of its release, it became an anthem for a generation and remains a rite of passage for budding guitarists. Its popularity in radio, despite never being released as a single.
Well, it was a great achievement to take such a monstrously dramatic musical piece.
Stairway to Heaven captures a vast spectrum of emotions. It resonates because of its universal themes and timeless sound.
And by that point, it's really motoring. It's not racing, but it's just the passion of it. It's just unfolded on every respect of the lyrical aspect of it. Robert was inspired. It was really an inspired period of time. It sort of shows that I think the lasting quality of this music over all these years is the fact that everyone's playing so honestly and with such conviction that it sort of shows.
It's a ballad. It's rock. It's folk. It's hard rock. This song transcends genres, blending and transcending categorizations, making it appealing to a diverse audience.
It's probably one of the most famous pieces of music in rock history. We can clearly see in this big romantic theme there are clear echoes of the romantic school of composition. It owes a great debt to Beethoven and Mendelssohn, composers like that. And rhythmically, it's very, very close to J.S. Bach's famous prelude from the Preludes and Fugues. Both pieces are strikingly similar in many respects, both written in C major, both 4/4 time, very similar construction in terms of the melody. And it's also interesting in that the Jimmy Page employs the device of the sharpened F.
Even after 5 decades, its influence can still be felt. Modern artists from various genres draw inspiration from its depth and artistry. It's a benchmark for musical excellence.
When I was about 15, I'd been playing acoustic guitar. This classical guitar teacher came to the school. About the 4th lesson, she said, one of the other kids told me that you know how to play Stairway to Heaven. And I said, yeah. She said, will you show me? Because all the other kids want to learn Stairway to Heaven. Oh, right. Essential guitar.
And it's this unexpected F sharp that makes the melodic shift in the whole piece. And Jimmy Page introduces that much earlier into Stairway to Heaven, but it's very similar to the kind of call and response structure of the Bach piece with his. So you can see how the two pieces are very closely related. The Prelude and Fugue is quite widely used in rock music. Procol Harum famously employed it, as did Ritchie Blackmore and Rainbow on a number of occasions. So you'll find it quite frequent, and its influence for me is definitely there in Stairway to Heaven.
It really built a little bit like the Zeppelin sort of mystique built through the years, and it was through being played live that it acclaimed the status that it did, you know, and then it became a millstone around their neck in the end. But early on, and in the context of the album, and the great thing about it now is that because it's been much maligned, and, you know, Rolf Harris and all this, when you play it now, and if you dare to play it, and that's what, you know, it's almost a fear factor, oh, it's Stairway to Heaven, I don't play that track anymore. When you do play it, it's still a song of great beauty. It may not be the best thing on the album, but it's a song of great beauty, and it has a lasting effect.
In essence, Stairway to Heaven encapsulates the spirit of a musical era, the zenith of rock and roll, and the boundless potential of human artistry.
And makes something inside, your little atoms are stirred by it, your being. It's one of those songs that actually connects with your being.
It's more than just a song.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold.
It's an experience, a memory, a journey.
And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Determining whether Stairway to Heaven clinches the title of the greatest song is subjective. Nonetheless, its indisputable musical excellence poignant lyrics and enduring cultural impact make a compelling case for such recognition. Led Zeppelin's unparalleled musicianship, genre-defying sound, impeccable songwriting, electrifying live performances, and lasting influence on music make them the undeniable frontrunners for the title
Best Band Ever.
She's buying a stairway to heaven. Oh.
Thank you for joining us on this musical journey.